I decided to do something different. Instead of destroying my knuckles, I have Shaolin training tonight and this morning. I'm just gonna start training my palms again. But I'm not just gonna be aimlessly attacking preconceived openings or entries. I'm gonna attack theology as a whole. I challenge every single religion to prove God through science. Science has, but not religion. You tell me one religion that has proven God's existence other than blind faith. I'll wait. Most of your religions, they're run by people whose other religions are called mythology now. The Roman Catholic Church, huh? 10% a week. Abraham had to pay it once. And it's not in the Old Testament. It's in the New. So who made that bullshit up? Now I know I got a lot of cliche things I say, which came first, the chicken or the egg. I use theology to prove it, but it's science that actually proves it. Some parts of theology believe that the earth is no more than 6,000 years old. And dinosaurs are a product of government sabotage to confuse the masses. If you ever go to the ocean and watch the sediment, you'll see most of that shit's dinosaur bones anyways, and fish poop. You can say all of these witnesses to these miracles, and I will say they make good stories and fables. And this is me, my opinion, right? You use cell phones, right? Isn't that witchcraft to you? Oh no, you like Wi-Fi. You like Bluetooth. Oh, but we're modern Christians. We took Jesus off the cross. You worship Jesus Christ. Barabbas was also named Jesus. So, what did the Jews say about Jesus? Oh, there was a guy, and then like mumble off and start talking about numbers and shit. You don't want to talk about religion after you start hearing numbers. But when it comes down to it, most people, they don't know what they believe. They believe whatever is regurgitated to them that sounds right, that everybody gets goosebumps off. This movie is so good, we all feel the same, right? It's so sad. That's slavery for you. That's barbarism. But in reverse, because the real butchers are the Romans, the Roman Catholics, the men that give you your ideology. Good people, you don't procreate. Look at the nuns and the priests. You guys, you don't have kids. You're married to God. Let the heathens take over. It's God's plan. Do you believe Jesus Christ died for your sins? Do you think one man was supposed to do that for everybody throughout time? How many Spider-Men do we have? Batman. Wolverine. Jackman's not the only one. Everybody has a favorite Joker. And I'm not saying there wasn't a Jewish guy opposing Rome, teaching the people this is how we keep a community together. Instead of watching everybody starve, we put in our resources and we live like that. The Romans are gonna take them from us. So let's put it all in a big pot. We're all living off of this one pot, you know? So they're not stealing your resources too much because they'll go in the pot and see that it's bland. You're the ones with the spices. Remember those mustard seeds? Was there a guy who did that? Yeah. But there's also Bruce Lee, who opposed all form of racism. Think of Jesus Christ's name. You feel something. Think of Bruce Lee's name. You feel something different. Not everybody knows Bruce Lee. Not everybody knows Jesus Christ. You guys read the New Testament and expect one action written by Greeks to be translated correct on the actions of a Jew. Listen to that. Alexandria 3rd BC, when the Romans ransacked it and they changed all of the knowledge. They started feeding Christians to the lions, Muslims, Jews, any other barbarian tribes. And that's not the whole world. In Japan, they had Shinto, but it represented a woman being chosen as Messiah, a torch being passed, not being held by one to save for all. Props, right? I don't believe in God. I don't have faith in God. You know why? I know God's real. As I said in the beginning, I proved God's existence. But I proved God's existence first time I walked into a science classroom. I saw an atom and the solar system. And when I saw them side by side, I was like, God, that's how big you are? Just that easy. No need for faith, no need for belief, no need for the doubt that comes along with it. It's like moving on. You know God's real. That's not the question. The question is, why are you following these rituals, these traditions? Every generation is supposed to evolve and create its own. There's supposed to be tradition, but they're supposed to branch out and flourish, not war. This is 100% right because the person who wrote this 10,000 years ago was human. He inscribed this shit on a fucking rock. Right? Now what happens if two prehistoric humans say, oh, no, you can't eat this? No, you can eat that. You can eat that year round. You know why you can't eat that, right? Alexandria 3rd BC. In the winter, when the Romans were hungry, the Persian Empire were feeding them fucking pigs. Because it was a commerce. But Muslims didn't eat it, so it was What gave them the strength to win? In Rome, when you were gonna get married, they used to give you bacon as a wedding gift. Oh, you're gonna get married? Here, have some bacon. Try this shit. This shit's fucking amazing. So what do you have to say? Theology? Science, I already know what you say. It's in textbooks. What's your excuse for all the war? What's your excuse for all the persecution? Because look, anything Italy does, it's kind of Israel's fault. Because if you think about it, when they used the Torah to talk about Cain and Abel, when Romulus and Remus happened, you would think the Israelis would have just went to war with Rome before they got strong. But they waited. Let's just see what they're going to do. Persians? What's your excuse? Oh, they're not over here. The barbaric tribes of England, of Europe. What do you heathens say? Whiskey wasn't invented yet. Only the fox god knows. But the thing is that everybody was so busy fighting each other that when Rome came about, World War II, here we are sophisticated. We have video evidence. We have documents, mind you, all which can be forged. Espionage. World War II. Did we win? America and Russia, I'm talking about combine the forces. Did we win? Both sides took Nazi scientists. Cold War comes next, right? Who's always playing neutrality? Who starts a war and then claims neutrality? World War I. An Austrian prince sees this American automobile and is like, man, we need to get down on that. We ain't got no funding. Well, let's just take it from the church. We're paying them 10% for what? Austria's doing great, right? Dude catches a bullet. Getting ready to distribute American automobiles in Europe. We're like, hey, but Germany is the one who makes cars, but Italy makes Ferraris. When Germany robbed Europe, they didn't take it to Berlin. Remember, Berlin was a bunker. They took it to the Vatican. If you got a bunch of gold, why are you going to hide it in Rome? You got every time that I contemplate history, ever since I was a child, the first time I had a history teacher, I always had the same questions. Why do we worship the Pope? Everybody bows down. The President of the United States kisses the ring. He's not even Jewish. Jesus was Jewish, right? Did Jesus leave a message saying that the next messenger is not going to be Jewish? Did he say anything about that? No. Did Bruce Lee? Could he? He was just a teacher. He had all of this fame and everybody was jealous. I could teach the blind to see. Bring some candy. This is what blue tastes like. This is what green tastes like. Water is clear. Milk is white. How that, you take a white blanket out of the laundry, how that feels, that's what white is. That light sensitivity. So, religion. What chapter, what verse can you prove God? Because all I would need are some microscopes and some telescopes, and there you go. I mean, because if your God is different from mine, why is your God not powerful enough to stop all of these wars? Why is your God not powerful enough to unite people? We're the same species. They're like, oh, why can't you do that in the wildlife? Because you're not feeding them. You feed a bunch of animals, they'll get along. Feed them. Feed the birds. Feed the bird. Look, a giant plate of bird food. Look, you won't see any. You won't see. The population of birds will increase on the simple fact is they won't feed on the young to control the population. They'll just eat. Capitalism, it's the problem. And you call this a Christian nation, but you guys want us to act like a Christian family. All of us. Oh, but everyone for himself, every man for himself. Fuck what Noah said. We're just going to completely ignore the first book of the Bible. Your Bible. I've read it. I like it. For fables, for stories, for morals. Other than that, it's a book. It's not magic. It's not going to save you. You have to save yourself. What you do with that knowledge, it's up to you. If you say, oh, God's going to have the plan. There's an old joke about a hurricane and a guy on a roof. The place floods. Neighbor comes out in a paddle boat. He's like, hey, neighbor, there's evacuated. Oh, God's got my back. He's going to take care of this, me and my property. The police come in a speedboat. Hey, neighbor, we're evacuating. It's an emergency. It's mandatory. He's like, no, you can't separate me from my property. This is going to blow over any time. Your funeral, they send a chopper. Once again, the dude shoots the chopper away. He's like, sir, this is your last chance. This hurricane ain't letting up anytime soon. It doesn't. By daybreak, the dude's dead. He's walking up to the gate, and he's like, screaming for God. He's like, God, you said that you were going to protect me. What happened? He hears a voice, and it says, yo, I sent thy neighbor. I sent thy enforcement of the law. I sent thy military. And you rejected all of God's subliminal hints at help because of your arrogance. You could thump Bible books of all sort of people all day long, and all you get is frustration. Because you can't prove anything, and until you can, guess what? Science rules! And I wasn't implying there was a difference in my God between your God, because the creator is the creator, however you spit it out. The only thing is when you say universe, that's too simple. Look at the human anatomy. How many atoms, how many different levels? Because the human is not just comprised of one thing. Bunch of organs, things holding them together. What's powering them? Let's just call it what it is. The United States of money. I made a little bit of space. Ended off something strong. I think that's the space. Hit him high and low.